7:35 p.m. on July 14th, 2026. This is the Personnel Committee, and we will be addressing two orders tonight. We have in attendance member Councilor David Doucette, Council President Michael Ossing, and members, the Mayor, and the two people being interviewed, as well as our Comptroller. I'll start off with the way it was set up. Order number 26-1009764, the appointment of Lynn Faust to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate member for a 2-year term from the date of the City Council confirmation. And just so, Dave, you know, I may be asking for suspensions tonight. Sure. Because we're meeting next week, and I'd like to get this on that agenda. Okay, and I'll read the letter from the Mayor to the Council President and Councilors. Appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate. Honorable President Ossing and Councilors. This alternate position has been done in the past, and if there is not enough ZBA members, the alternate can step in for a quorum. As you can see, Mrs. Faust's resume, she has previously served on the ZBA. She has extensive work in many facets with her career, including engineering, which is a great asset to the ZBA. She has served on numerous boards within the city and will bring that commitment, perspective, and experience to the board. I want to thank Lynn for wanting to continue to serve the community by rejoining the ZBA. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. Lynn, if we can just have you go up front. There's little buttons, just make sure the green button's on. Thank you, Lynn. Welcome, Lynn. We know each other through Rotary, but I don't know if the other members do know you, so that's why we asked you to come here, just to explain your wishes or what you would like to do as an alternate member of the ZBA, but you've already been there, so I presume you pretty much know what you'd like to do. But I will open it up to the committee member first for any questions, and other members such as Councilor Ossing. But go ahead, Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you for volunteering your time for the zoning board. So you were on the zoning board for quite a while, actually, almost 20 years. Yeah. Okay, so here we are 13 years later, and you want to come back again?
We're empty nesters. We have some time. I do run a nonprofit corporation as a full-time employee, but I have the time to.
Do you have your mic? You got to speak closer to the mic. Bring it closer.
Move it to you, Lynn. There you go.
It does move. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So, yeah, I think I do have time to commit to the Zoning Board of Appeals again. I loved serving previously, and I think I have a lot to offer to the board.
I did notice that, you know, you've been board members of different organizations, Historical Commission, CDA. What is the Metro Community Development Corporation? I haven't heard about that one yet.
Well, we're a local nonprofit on the other end of Main Street in the old post office. We work on self-sufficiency programming to help disadvantaged people to get more employment, to retain their housing, to be more self-sufficient in general.
Okay,
yeah,
so
we serve about 2,500 people per year.
Okay, so your focus is on people, not businesses, but that's...
Yes, it's very people-oriented. We're not an economic development
Yeah.
or business development organization, although we do deal with housing.
Yeah.
Our organization used to redevelop housing. What we found is that there's plenty of developers that are out there doing that, and so we're working with the people so that when they do get affordable housing, they can afford to be there and earn the incomes to pay their mortgage.
Great, okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that intro.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Councilor Ossing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lynn, welcome back. Glad to have you back on the ZBA.
Thank you.
I guess my one question would be, Would you be interested in becoming a full-time member should a spot open up on the ZBA?
Yes, I hope so. I'm not aware of how often the board has been meeting. When I served previously, we met practically every Tuesday, and I could not do that at this time, but I could probably, depending on how busy the board is, meet a couple Tuesdays, 2 or 3 times a month with my current schedule.
If this will make you feel any better, they meet like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. It's really it's really case dependent. So the I don't want to say the chaos of the earlier years when you were there, things have slowed down. Folks kind of follow the rules, or we find them violating the rules and they come beg for forgiveness. But usually it doesn't work so well. But it's only a handful of cases a year. It's not, and there is no set schedule for ZBA. It's when someone applies.
Okay, yeah, when I served, we had many 40Bs, and so we had weeks after weeks after weeks of hearings.
Yeah, and I mean, the mayor can correct me, but we haven't, I mean, I know they got one case on Concord Road and that they're looking at right now, but prior to that, you can go on the website and look at it. It's months between meetings.
Okay, if that's the case, then I could, if need be a permanent member. Mhm.
Okay. No, I'm just gauging interest so the mayor knows in case he needs to fill a spot. Right now we're full, but, you know, we don't know what the future holds, but the alternate position is kind of like the bullpen to get folks ready and primed so they can step in should someone decide to leave, so.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. President. Lynn, you and I know each other, and I was just curious, you've got quite a commercial background, quite a resume, electrical. You graduated with an engineering degree in electrical engineering. In your work now, it's more public work, but do you see any conflicts that may arise with being on the ZBA as an alternate?
No, most of my work now is outside of the city of Marlborough. I work statewide, from the Berkshires to the Cape, into Boston, and we really do very little work in Marlborough per se, and it has nothing to do with zoning, the work that we do.
Excellent. And I would agree, if you're ever interested in a full-time position, I hope the mayor is listening, that would be great. But curious, in your resume, and I know, but maybe no one else knows, you're not a veterinarian, right? It says you had pets trainer. You were trained with pets. So
Oh, no, that would be for...
what was that all about?
Oh, it has to do with Rotary International. I am an expert in mobilizing volunteers, and I did a lot of work with Rotary International doing volunteer work.
And that pets trainer was more or less the president-elect training? Is
Yes,
that what that stands
I
for?
trained a lot of future presidents in Rotary International, yes.
And I've enjoyed being a fellow of yours for these many years and look forward to it. I'm sure my fellow councilors will agree that you will make a great alternate person for the ZBA at this time and maybe someday of permanent. But with that said, are there any other questions at all?
No, I think that's it. Motion to approve.
Okay, a motion's on the floor to approve Lynn Faust as an alternate member to the ZBA. All in favor? Opposed? There's no one opposed, so congratulations, Lynn, and this will be in, well, I was going to ask for a suspension.
Yep, so moved.
Okay, a suspension has been so moved. All in favor? This will be suspended for the next city council meeting, which will be next Monday. You're welcome to be here. You don't have to, but we want to make sure we get you enrolled as fast as we can. So
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn.
councilors.
Oh, you're
Thank you for
very
your
welcome.
time and all that you do for the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay, the next order on the agenda is order number 2610097779, and I'll read the letter from the mayor related to this order. Okay. Dear Council President Ossing and councilors, I am pleased to submit for your approval the appointment of Aaron Ragusa Caton as the City of Marlboro's City Collector and Assistant Finance Director. Throughout her municipal career, she has served in treasurer, collector, and finance-related roles for communities ranging in size from 3,400 to 23,000 residents, with budgets exceeding $115 million. Mrs. Ragusa-Caton experience includes managing tax collection, utility billing, debt and cash management, accounts payable and receivable, payroll processing, reconciliation of municipal liens, certificates, and resident services. In Hudson, she played a key leadership role in the complete restructuring of the Treasurer Collector's Office and the transition to the Munis financial system. Her experience as an executive assistant, human resource support professional, and public information officer has strengthened her leadership, customer service, communication, and organization skills, which I believe will be an asset serving the residents and businesses of Marlborough and support the financial operation of the community. Enclosed is Mrs. Ragusa-Caton's resume and letter of interest for your review. She will be available at a future which is this meeting, at a future Personnel Committee meeting to answer any questions you may have. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. Aaron, would you like to come up to the well? I hope I said your name right.
Yes, you did.
Good.
Nice to meet you. Oh, yeah, sure, no worries.
Thanks, Aaron. You betcha.
And you know how the mic works. If it's too far away, it won't work, I guess. So with that said, Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. You have a very impressive resume, and I really do appreciate the background in different municipalities. So you're currently working for Hudson. How far away do you live?
I actually am here, so I...
You live in Marlborough?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I've been here for a couple, I guess I'm a little too close.
Yeah.
I've been here for a couple weeks, just doing an acting collector position right now.
Yeah.
Just to fill the spot that was currently vacant.
Yep.
I live about 40 minutes away, so my distance commute-wise from where I previously was in Hudson is only less than an additional 10 minutes, so
Okay.
it wasn't a big difference in commute-wise for me, so I like to take the back roads.
Sure.
I listen to my audiobooks, listen to music, so it's
Yep.
a nice ride.
Yeah, I was just looking at, you were at Dunstable, Barry, Hubbardston, Rutland, Phillipston, Templeton, pretty much all over the state. So I'm just figuring out, in the back of my head, I'm like, what type of commute did you have back then?
So basically, my home was centrally located from all of those. So
Okay.
basically, make a circle with all of those and plunk me right in the middle, and that's where I am.
Okay, so you're north of us, right?
Yes, a little bit north, yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, the work that you're doing in Hudson, and all kidding aside, transferring a financial system from one to another, I give you great credit for that into itself. It doesn't matter what business you're in, that's always a huge process to undertake, and it's a necessary one, too. So, good
I
for that.
appreciate that, because yes, it
Yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah, so, I think overall your background and experience matches it. I mean, it's, this leverages the experience you have while getting more financial deeper dive, and you've got a hell of a teacher over there to learn from, so don't go any further, will you? But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilor.
Yep.
President Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Aaron, looking at the resume, it looks like you've, I call it steadily progressed in population and budget, right? So you're now going from 23,000 residents to 41,000 and 115 million to a $226 million budget. So there's a significant amount more of tax collection activities that will take place in Marlborough than what you've seen previously. Any challenges that you see in addressing that? I mean, you got a staff of 2, and so why I mention it is your ability to work the counter is going to be important, because it's not just in the office, but you've got to have, I call it, you're not the most popular person when people come in to pay their taxes, right? I mean, it's I feel bad sometimes for Jeff and Dan, because they're the ones that have to, confront some maybe not so happy residents. Your philosophy on working the front desk with your team, can you just share some of that insight for me?
Sure. So I have worked the counter many, many times. Some of my smaller offices, it was either just myself or myself and one other. So being at the counter is something I'm very comfortable with and don't have a problem with doing at all. Mostly, the biggest challenge is just helping people. They might be frustrated over a situation, and you're just trying to help them understand how to correct whatever their problem is and move forward with that. The volume so far has been a little bit more than I expected, or I shouldn't say more than I expected, but more in line with what I expected, so more than what I was currently used to. I am waiting to see what the spring excise is going to look like. That will be the biggest challenge, because it's always the big one that comes around in the spring. I have a great team. They really are wonderful. I've taken some things off of their plate so they can focus more on the window, and then I've stepped into the window when they've been working on things for me that it's like, okay, let me just take this and we can get this processed so that obviously we are servicing the people that are coming in to see us.
Okay, well, that's good. It's good. That's, to me, that's an important feature of the collector, to be visible, if you will, in the office. So I appreciate that. My second comment centers around the uncollectible portions of the taxes. The city's done relatively well in keeping around I'd say 1 to 3% of uncollected taxes on a yearly basis, but we've done well with the process of, my version, going after people that don't collect their taxes. Now, do you have experience in that realm, and can share some of your thoughts on that portion of the program?
It's a challenge in all offices, regardless of the size of the community. So it is a challenge. You have just some that are habitual people that do not pay until the end of the fiscal year, and you kind of give them that little nudge of here's a demand notice, unfortunately, and then you sometimes just make a phone call, which actually occurred this week, where I literally just pick up the phone and said, this is what's outstanding, this is what's kind of being held up right now, and they were down into the office within 5 minutes and paid what they owed. So sometimes it's just a friendly conversation of, this is what's being held up right now, would you like to move forward with this? This is the process that you need to go with. It's a standard, you go through the process. Some of it, they just forget, life gets busy for a lot of people. So sometimes it's just those extra notices, or maybe just a notice of, hey, this is what's out there. We kind of give reminders while they're in the office. The next one's not going to be due until, don't forget the water bill will be out coming, you shouldn't have to worry about. Those are kind of the leading conversations that we have, sentences of either greeting or leaving, depending on how the conversation goes with each individual resident. So it's always just a little reminder of, this is the schedule. Those that might have a challenge budgeting those things, we give them, kind of notices of, maybe you want to set up a calendar invite. It's always a very set schedule. This is what you kind of should remember. Gee, if it's Valentine's Day and the registry hasn't said that they love you with an excise bill, maybe you want to reach out and go, something seems a little off. So those are just some odd things that kind of stick in people's minds of going, oh yeah, so I won't be late on that. Yep, I can get that over there. And obviously the biggest with excise is the abatement process, and we work really closely with the assessors, and we make sure that they get over to the assessors so they can get through that process of it, so that they don't have these uncollectible things out there that may not really exist, because they might have not had the vehicle anymore.
So I see the collector's role as to basically collect the property taxes and funds that are owed the city, but then also to be on top of the funds that aren't collected, and to have a good system to monitor, track, and enforce the collection of receivables that we don't have, because we build a budget expecting we're going to get X amount of money in, and it usually doesn't happen, but by collecting prior years, that kind of makes up for us. So in my mind, we're usually floating about 1 to 2% of our revenue that we don't collect in a given year, but making it up with prior year's collection because of the activity of the collector's office. So to me, that's a very important feature to be on top of, and I would encourage you to, work with Brian and the team to make sure that the uncollectible stuff does get collected, because we're running a business here, and those funds are important to be collected. Because I tell anyone that asks, you're part of the community, your responsibility is to pay your share. If you don't like it, there's a process to abate it or discuss it, but, you know, you've got to pay your share to live in the community. So you know, that's something I look at, and I work with Brian on to make sure the uncollectibles get collected.
One of the most easy things that we do in the office, which is something probably a little newer to them, that they probably just didn't have the guidance to use. The staff just didn't have the guidance to know that this is a different way of doing it. So in my first week here, I actually worked with Dan, and we had a resident that came in that wanted to pay their real estate taxes, the ones that are currently out there right now due in August. And when we pulled it up, I said, oh, well, you know, why don't you just give her the whole parcel balance, and you can see that these are the other things that are outstanding. So rather than paying the bill that wasn't quite due yet, we actually collected on everything that had been due prior. So then she was like, okay, now I know, and that I'll be back here for the August 3rd due date to go through and move that. So it's a very simple thing of just, let's give a parcel balance so that they can see everything outstanding, and they can go, oh, I didn't know that, or, oh, I missed something somewhere. So it's just a nice little easy, friendly reminder right there and then as to, while you're here, just remember this is what's outstanding, you know, this is what's earning interest. You know, the best route is to obviously pay what's earning interest first if something isn't currently due, and then move from there. And then just a gentle reminder again as they're leaving, and don't forget this is what's going to be due by that August 3rd date, so that you don't have to pay the interest, because essentially residents don't want to pay the interest. Right. That's obviously helps the city, but it's their pocketbook that they're going, how can I save some money? And the best way is to obviously not have to pay interest or fees on their current bill. So if they can pay on time, that definitely helps their own budget at their own home.
Right. Erin, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll go on with the uncollectibles. I like your approach. I feel bad sometimes people are limited to their budgets, especially our elderly population, so I like your friendly approach in explaining, maybe pay up the uncollectibles that are costing you interest, that just so they know. And I know in other towns I worked in municipal government for years as well, and they put out a list. I work for a small town right now, so it's not a large list, but it's sent to, I'm in a permitting agency, I'm in the Board of Health, and they tell us don't issue any permits because these taxes are not paid yet. So I don't know if that's something you've ever looked into or plan on doing.
So I have done this in multiple communities, and actually we do a form of it here as well. It kind of depends on what your format is of what it is that you're using. So some communities had a software system, Permalink, OpenGov, different things like that, where there's a built-in workflow that will say, okay, the very first stop is the collector's office. Do they owe outstanding taxes? You know, that will stop them from getting some, not all, but some type of permit or license that they're trying to move forward with. And when it's things like that, especially construction-wise, that's the biggest time that it pops up, where people are trying to do some type of work on their home. They can't because, oh my God, I forgot that I didn't pay this water bill from last year, or something along that lines. Or they have a small balance because maybe they paid a little late and they had some interest that was still outstanding. So that's a nice way to be able to collect that as well. Others are, maybe it's a form, a work form that goes around, and that's currently what's being used here. And so we use that to make sure that they are current if they want to get a license, a certificate, or any type of permit. And they have to, again, stop here in our office before they go to the other ones.
That's usually very helpful too. That usually wakes people up to, oh, geez, I need to do that before I get a permit. You worked with Munis. I worked with Munis, but many years ago. I hope it's improved since, but I don't know if that could help us in Marlboro or not, but your background in Munis, as you explained, seems very good. I don't know where you find time to enjoy yourself, because I read here that you have, was it 100+ certificates?
Yeah, there's a lot. So I like to learn. And so a lot of my different positions, especially since it has varied between both the finance side as well as the executive side of things, has branched out in a lot of different areas. And while there's a significant overlap with personnel, with human resources, depending on your community size, it could be done on the finance office, or it could have been done in the executive office. And then adding that into COVID occurring, I had to get certified very quickly in quite a few things to become the information officer in the community that I was in at the time. So the state had regulated what it is that you needed to do, and my position in that community was, okay, you now need to get certified in this because you are now going to be the information officer to handle whatever the state happens to throw at us at that time.
Very important position.
Yes.
A public information officer, I served it a few times when we did clinics, vaccine clinics and so forth. What else was there? There was that and the team, we talked earlier just before you came into the meeting, and I'm very happy to hear that you're already getting to know your team. You have a great team. Brian sitting, your comptroller, I mean, you couldn't be in a better situation, in my view, to be working with the team you're going to be working with. And with that said, do I hear a motion?
One other question.
Oh, sure.
Actually, you worked at Concord Data Systems?
I'm sorry, I worked.
You worked at Concord Data Systems?
No,
Says, oh, sorry, that was Lynn.
That's Lynn, yep.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's two resumes. I was going the wrong one. It's like, wait, I'll catch up with her later. No, sorry. Motion to approve.
Okay, motion's on the floor to approve. I'll second that. All in favor?
Hang on, hold.
Oh, the suspension.
Discussion.
Oh, the discussion. Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was a request from the mayor to add an additional week vacation, so I don't know if you
Yeah, I
want
was
to
gonna-
include that as part of the motion to approve.
We can, if you think that's appropriate. We didn't see the letter, but it was in his email, so,
The letter is in our mailboxes now. It'll
oh,
be
so
on
I
the-
apologize then.
Okay.
So I would like to see if we can.
Motion to approve an additional week vacation and make sure we do a special order to get it done next meeting.
Okay. And with that, and thank you, Mr. President. I didn't realize the letter was in our box. With that said, that motion has been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Now, if I could ask for a suspension?
Suspension.
The suspension for the next meeting has been voted on and seconded. All in favor?
Yep.
Now, with that said, I guess
Motion to adjourn?
a motion's in order to adjourn. All in favor?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 8:02.